Welcome! This video will guide you through the wet end disassembly, cleaning, and reassembly of the Viking Hygienic Series pumps. This series includes the following pump models. As always, consult the applicable technical service manual for important safety information and a complete listing of suggested tools before you begin. A copy of the latest revision can be found on our website at vikingpump.com. It's critical to know what liquid the pump has been handling and the precautions necessary to safely handle the liquid. When cleaning the exterior of the pump, avoid spraying water or cleaning solution directly at the bearings. The seal face kit and elastomer kit part numbers can be found on a hang tag on the pump. If the tag has been removed, contact your local authorized Viking pump distributor to obtain these kit numbers. The seal face kit includes the stationary and rotary seal faces, as well as the wave spring. The elastomer kit includes all of the O-rings needed for the seal, as well as the head, idler pin, and rotor retainer O-rings needed to reassemble the pump. The pumps covered in this video are Hygienic Series pumps with standard single mechanical seals. For additional information on installing double mechanical seals and O-ring seals, see the Technical Service Manual and our Hygienic Series seal installation videos. Remove the head nuts. If the pump has a jacketed head plate, remove the jacketed head plate and O-ring. Use jack screws to back the head away from the casing. Remove the head by tilting it backward to prevent the idler from falling off the idler pin. Remove the head O-ring. Use two nuts to hold the casing in place during disassembly. These nuts should be located on opposite sides of the casing. A spacer or a couple of larger nuts will need to be used to compensate for the length of the casing studs. It is important the casing is secured during disassembly to avoid damage to the pump internals. Insert a plastic bar in the port opening and between the rotor teeth to keep the shaft from turning. Use the retainer socket tool to unscrew the rotor retainer. Remove the rotor retainer cap, rotor retainer cap O-ring, and rotor retainer O-ring. Inspect the rotor retainer blind tapped hole for contamination. If necessary, perform proper cleaning procedures. Remove the plastic bar from the port opening. Remove the rotor from the casing. The rotary member of the mechanical seal will be removed with the rotor. Take care not to damage the seal components when removing the rotor. If the rotor is not removable by hand, reinstall the rotor retainer and use a gear puller tool in the two drilled and tapped holes in the rotor face to assist in the removal of the rotor. The hole spacing and thread size for the gear puller holes is shown in the Technical Service Manual. These holes do not extend through the rotor and are not designed for jack screws. Remove the rotor retainer after the rotor has been removed. Remove the mechanical seal rotary member after the rotor has been removed from the casing. Remove the rotary face O-ring. When setting down the rotary face, ensure the sealing surface is facing up. Remove the two nuts securing the casing. Remove the casing. For mechanically sealed pumps, carefully remove the stationary face and stationary face O-ring from the seal housing to avoid damaging the face during disassembly and cleaning. Remove the wave spring. The seal housing and seal housing O-ring do not need to be removed from the casing unless the O-ring material of the pump is not compatible with the cleaning solution. Remove the idler assembly from the idler pin. The idler pin does not need to be removed from the head unless the O-ring material of the pump is not compatible with the cleaning solution. To remove the idler pin, remove the idler pin cap screw. Then remove the idler pin O-ring, and idler pin dowel pin. Once the pump has been disassembled, submerge and soak wet end components in a clean out of place tank with a suitable cleaning solution. Ensure that the cleaning solution is compatible with the pump components. Pump parts should remain in the cleaning solution no longer than necessary to ensure adequate cleaning in order to avoid corrosion to pump components. After cleaning the pump components, inspect pump parts for wear. If the spline area of the rotor or shaft is worn or damaged, replace the part. If the shaft shoulder next to the spline area has a sharp edge, use a fine emery cloth to remove the sharp edge to avoid damaging the seal. Wear to the shaft shoulder and the back of the rotor is caused by operating the pump with a loose rotor retainer. Inspect the rest of the critical parts of the pump, such as the casing, head, idler bushing, idler gear, idler pin, and rotor. Check parts for nicks, burrs, and excessive wear. Replace any worn components. It is recommended that new O-rings be used for reassembly of the pump. All O-rings should be lightly lubricated with a food-grade lubricant that is suitable for the application before installing. If the seal housing was removed from the casing, install the seal housing O-ring onto the seal housing. When installing the seal housing into the casing, the anti-rotation cutout of the seal housing must line up with the anti-rotation washer on the backside of the casing. Install the stationary face O-ring onto the stationary face. When handling and installing the seal faces, avoid touching the raised sealing surface with anything besides clean hands or a clean cloth. Install the wave spring into the seal housing. Make sure that the notches on the back of the stationary face line up with the tabs on the seal housing. Install the stationary face into the seal housing with the O-ring side facing the back of the casing. The port with the casing groove needs to be used as the suction port for the pump's primary rotation. Use the casing studs to install the casing on the bracket. After installing the casing, use 2 nuts to hold the casing in place during assembly. The anti-rotation holes on the back of the rotor must line up with the lugs on the backside of the rotary face. Install the O-ring onto the back of the rotary face. Install the rotary face onto the backside of the rotor. Install the rotor onto the shaft by lining up the splines on both components. Take care not to damage the seal faces while installing the rotor, and ensure that the seal faces do not slip out of position. Install the rotor retainer cap O-ring onto the rotor retainer cap. Install the rotor retainer cap onto the face of the rotor. Place the rotor retainer O-ring onto the rotor retainer. Food grade anti-seize needs to be used on all pump fasteners except the lock nut. Install the rotor retainer into the shaft to secure the rotor retainer cap. Insert a plastic bar through the port opening between the rotor teeth to keep the shaft from turning. Use a torque wrench to tighten the rotor retainer to the value shown in the TSM using the retainer socket tool. It is critical that the rotor retainer be torqued properly to prevent damage to the pump. An alternate method of tightening the rotor retainer is to use a calibrated impact wrench or an impact wrench with a properly sized torque stick. Remove the 2 nuts securing the casing. If the idler pin was removed from the head, place the idler pin O-ring into the counterbore on the head. Insert the dowel pin into the idler pin. Align the dowel pin with the hole or groove in the bore for the idler pin and install the idler pin into the head. Secure the idler pin to the head using the idler pin cap screw. Coat the idler pin with a food-grade lubricant and place the idler assembly on the idler pin. Remove the plastic bar from the port opening. The head O-ring may need to be stretched to fit onto the casing. Lubricate the head O-ring to assist with its installation. Install the head O-ring onto the casing. Use the head alignment dowel pins to ensure proper assembly of the head. When installing the head, make sure the idler pin, which is offset in the head, is positioned equal distance between pump port connections to allow for proper flow of liquid through the pump. If the pump is equipped with a jacketed head plate, install the jacketed head plate and the jacketed head plate O-ring. The idler pin position can be determined by the location of the idler pin cap screw. Install the head nuts to secure the head to the casing. As long as the thrust bearing was not adjusted, the end clearance should still be set correctly. If the pump was disassembled further than shown in this video, refer to the Technical Service Manual for complete assembly procedures. Your Hygienic Series pump is fully reassembled and ready to be put back into service. If you still have any questions regarding this or other Viking pump products, please contact your local authorized Viking pump distributor or visit us on the web at vikingpump.com. Thank you for watching.